Hello and welcome to the Oakland County Megacast. I'm Tyler Kieft in the studios of our flagship stations, 89.3 Lakes FM and Civic Center TV. In addition, today, as always, we're on Birmingham Area Municipal Access. Both of our TV stations are on Comcast Channel 15 and AT&T Channel 99. We're also on the radio in the greater West Bloomfield area on 89.3 Lakes FM and in the Birmingham and Bloomfield area on 88.1 WBFH, The Biff. In addition, today, as always, online, civiccentertv.com, and on Facebook, facebook.com/civiccentertv15, and facebook.com/lakesfm. And as always, joining me today in the studios here in West Bloomfield is Ronnie Dahl.
Tyler, are you feeling lucky today?
No, I'm not feeling lucky today so far. It's been, just to be entirely honest, it's been just a little bit of a technical runaround so far today. We got a monitor over here that's mysteriously gone out, so I got this big clunky thing over to my right here for the radio, and then apparently we got some alarm that's beeping outside. I just got a text message about, so I'll be doing a little bit of double duty here as we start off today. It's always something fun.
And our internet here in the building has been crap.
Very spotty.
Even trying to connect to my iPhone is not going so well. And because I wanted to register to win.
Right. Maybe we're too connected over here with all of our different outlets, and there's like, let's save some connection for everybody else and just cut the Wi-Fi.
So of course the big thing this morning as we were driving in, it was leaked yesterday though that Michigan is getting in on the sweepstakes vaccine game. A little bit late, you kind of feel, right?
Yeah, just a little bit, It's all right. It's a couple months past Ohio, but what are you going to do, right?
Right. And so yesterday it was leaked out to the media that this was coming. The governor is wrapping up a press conference pretty much right now. And so this new program is called My Shot to Win. So you need to register. And we know that goal of reaching 70% by 4th of July, it's just not going to happen.
No way.
It's not going to happen. Despite, Biden doing, the rounds and so many of the other, officials, elected leaders trying to encourage people to get vaccinated, I think we've reached that threshold where at this point people are kind of like, the ones that wanted the vaccine got it. And the others are saying, probably not. And on top of that, everything's opened right now. And so people kind of feel like we're going back to normal. Why should they get it?
Right. And I think that's more than anything is where the slowdown is going to continue to be. It's because things are opening back up. People have been more or less, just by circumstances of the reopening, assured that things are back to normal and things are safe again, and so there are gonna be a lot of people that will question whether or not they need to get this. And sweepstakes such as these, sure, it may get a few more people out there so they can also enter in. Of course, this is also going to be open to people that have already been vaccinated against COVID-19, but maybe it brings a few more people out. And I think it's better than a gift card program or a meal voucher program or something that we've seen in other localities, including here in Oakland County. I think it's a little bit better. It's much better of a motivator than that. But even that being said, how
better
many
than
people
Tigers tickets? I mean, come on.
The Tigers, the barely over 500 in the last 25 games Tigers. Yeah, sure. I think it's a little better.
So with that, just so you know, the details are coming out right now. But basically, what we know, it's going to be $5 million in cash. And then also college scholarships to those that are under the age of 18, worth about $55,000 each. It's going to be called, My Shot to Win. And they're partnering with Meyer and United Way and some other nonprofits to help fund this initiative. Because as we remember back at the beginning, when this was coming up across the country, other states were doing it. Michigan was saying, hey, we can't do it due to our, legality issues here in the state of Michigan. So they went to the business community and some of the nonprofits, and this is what they came up with. So you do need to register, though. So you need to go online and register to win. There will be a $1 million winner, a $2 million winner, and then for 30 days, $50,000 will be given out. And then again, if you're under the age of 18, they are going to be giving away scholarships, 9 scholarships worth $55,000. And I will say, I was kind of like, what about everyone who got vaccinated already?
Right.
Well, this is a little bit different than some of the other programs in that if you have already been vaccinated, you can go ahead and register as well. But I do believe you have, I don't know if you had to be vaccinated in Michigan or at least live in Michigan. So as of yesterday, about 61.8% of the population, just over 5 million, have gotten at least one dose. That's according to the state's COVID-19 vaccine dashboard. So I wonder if this is going to be a big enough motivator to get more people vaccinated, because of course the concern continues to be the Delta variant.
Yeah, the Delta variant's the big concern right now, and if that's not enough of a motivator, and if this isn't enough of a motivator to bring people out, then I think that at that point you are at a point where you're thinking, well, what do we do to manage a situation where we don't get the 70%? Because if something like this, where there's all this money being thrown out, and it's open to people that have been vaccinated already and people that will be vaccinated, and it still isn't enough, what more can you do to motivate people other than some sort of a legal requirement, which is a huge burden for anybody in government to try to enact, and on top of that would be political suicide, so they'd never do it. So if something like this isn't enough to get it done, then it's probably not going to get done. And if you're asking for my opinion, and you are, it's my job here, I don't think it's going to be enough, because if this was something that was going to really make a significant push, why wouldn't it have happened earlier? And I mean, we talked about the Ohio sweepstakes for $1 million when that came up, and when the governor first initially had said that, well, we could do something like this if it were within the law, but it's not. Why then was a delay so long to get that going when that's supposed to be some big motivator? Now we've hit a snag and we're reopened. There's so many factors that are playing against motivating people to make that last push to 70%.
Right. I think what you're going to see in this case, the people that have already been vaccinated are going to be the ones to try to register. I am. I'm going to. Hey.
Yeah, why not? You
I could use
win,
$1 million, $2 million.
Yeah.
I'd be happy with the 50,000.
Yeah, no, I'd take a little bit, That's fine.
Electronic payment, that'd
Sure.
be nice. Go
Yeah.
into your checking account, and tomorrow you have an extra 50 grand.
Yeah, that'd be very nice.
So you can look for that again, though. You have to remember it's not enough to just have gotten vaccinated. You need to also make sure you go through the steps to register as well. And so with that, too, here in Oakland County, kind of
Oopsie.
not much of a incentive here in Oakland County. However, Oakland County is extending its $50 gift card incentive for residents who get the COVID-19 shot. They're going to continue to offer the $50 gift card to county residents. County last week announced the gift card initiative, who received their first dose of the vaccine between June 24th and July 4th. However, it's going to remain in place until 70% of county residents 16 and up have received at least one dose. Those under 18 are eligible for the vaccine and a gift card with the consent of their parent or legal guardian. As of Tuesday, about 68.6% of county residents 16 and up have received at least one dose. And of course, county residents can visit Oakland County Health Division, the vaccine clinics, or enroll in the COVID-19 vaccine providers here in the state of Michigan to qualify for the free incentive while the supplies last. The health division is going to be holding daily vaccine clinics from 9 until 4:30 at both its North Oakland Health Center in Pontiac and South Oakland Health Center in Southfield. Again, not a lot of initiative to go out and get that vaccine, but we are getting closer here in Oakland County, 68 point something percent. We're pretty close here in Oakland County.
Yeah, things have been getting really, really close here in Oakland County. Oakland County has been making a big push over the last couple of months and has made a lot more progress than we've seen in several other counties throughout the local area and all across the state of Michigan. It's been well ahead of the curve here in the state in terms of getting people vaccinated. That being said, this gift card incentive, if up to $5 million in prizes and $55,000 scholarships aren't going to motivate you. I don't know about a $50 gift card, but maybe the combination of the two will get a slightly more marginal amount of people to go out and get vaccinated.
You know what though? I kind of feel cheated.
Yeah, don't we all?
Everyone who got them early, you kind of feel cheated. I want a $50 gift card.
Right, exactly.
I'll pay for my Starbucks for the month.
Exactly.
Trixie's puppuccino habit.
Right, exactly. I get a vaccine. Trixie gets a puppuccino. Everybody wins.
Although I will say, Starbucks doesn't charge for the puppuccinos. But there is a huge problem right now, Tyler. All the Starbucks near our home with drive-thrus have been closed because obviously they haven't been able to get enough employees.
Okay.
So the hours are reduced. You don't know which ones are open, which ones aren't. The other day we went to 3 different Starbucks and they were all closed.
Oh no.
So we ended up going through Tim Hortons, so it's across the street from the Starbucks at Telegraph and Maple there. And I'm like, McDonald's, Tim Hortons, all of you, jump on this bandwagon because Starbucks is closed, and a lot of people go to Starbucks just for their dogs.
Exactly.
I'm not alone in this crazy habit, but when I go to Tim Hortons, I'm like, and can I just get a small thing of whipped cream for the dog? Because you can't say a puppuccino or a pup in a cup or, they just get all confused. And so I'm like, can I just get a small thing of whipped cream? He gives me this cup. It's probably about the size of this, filled with whipped cream. And I'm like, I don't need that much. I just need a little cup for the dog.
It's
and
a
he goes,
dog, not a bear.
What? That's a big dog. That should be enough. Just like
right, my dog better, right? Exactly.
Trying to get some of these restaurants that don't understand what a puppuccino is. It's just a little tiny thing of whipped cream,
right? Yeah.
Dunkin' Donuts, they're in on it. They got it, and they'll put a little donut at the bottom of it, but they charge like $2 or $3 for theirs.
Right.
Starbucks is cheap, free,
right.
but also it's tiny. So, because if you have a huge cup, she wants to eat the whole cup.
Exactly.
And I'm like, that's too much whipped cream for a dog.
Right. That's going to be a problem for us later.
Oh, my car is covered in whipped cream because then it gets in her beard and she shakes her head and it's all over the place. And I'm just like, oh, please, can we just reopen our Starbucks? And I just think about it. And it used to be just the one, like at Telegraph and Square Lake. Now, though, it seems to be spreading at other Starbucks. The one that seems to always be open is the one at Northwestern here, at that crazy roundabout, Orchard Lake and Northwestern. But, that's a little bit of a distance away, and that
it's
roundabout.
Not exactly easy to get to anything in that location either. I mean, that's what I feel more bad than anything about for those businesses. It's that the roundabout wasn't exactly easy to get to those before the roundabout, and it's not all that much easier after it. So
I know. So, but come on, people. Let's get back to work.
Jeez.
We need our puppuccinos. And Starbucks actually pays really well. I believe they do insurance for 24 hours a week, and they have tuition reimbursement. So, it's not a bad company to work for. And you get free coffee.
Right. Yeah, I mean that they were doing that stuff before the pandemic too. So it wasn't necessarily just incentives now to try to get people back. They had been making those efforts beforehand. So who knows?
I do know people that work over there just for the insurance.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Hey, you have Google, right? Android. You're an Android person. Google is going to be opening up Android's built-in passes system to let Android users store a digital vaccine card, which it calls a COVID card, on your phone. The feature is going to initially roll out here in the U.S., and it will rely on support from healthcare providers, local governments, and other organizations authorized to distribute COVID vaccines. Feature will also support storing your COVID test results. So for vaccinations, your COVID card will show info on when you were vaccinated and which vaccine you received. That's according to a Google support page. The card can be saved from your healthcare provider's app or website, as well as from text or emails that are sent to you. Google recommends that you add a shortcut to the card on your home screen, and they will offer the option when you save your card to your device. So it says that the card is not going to be saved, though, in the cloud, and it doesn't use your information that you provide for any advertising purposes.
Sure.
But read the asterisks here. They are going to collect some information like how many times you use your card and on which days, and you won't have to have the Google Pay app downloaded to save and access your cards. Will you plan on doing that?
Hard pass. I think Google's got enough of my information already. I'm not going to give them.
They probably already know that you've been
exactly.
vaccinated.
They probably know I've been vaccinated, and on top of that, why am I giving them my medical information? They're barely able. These tech companies are barely able to keep the information they already have on people like us safe, let alone our medical information on top of that. No, I got my COVID vaccine card. I'll take a picture of it, and then you know what? It'll already be on Google because they'll save it to the Android cloud anyway. So there it is. There's my vaccine card. I'm not putting it in and making it even easier to get hacked and used all over the place. Come on, Google. Come on.
So with that, though, I did take a picture of mine.
Yeah.
And stop carrying it around. Makes
it easier.
But I mean, I have yet to have anyone ask me for my vaccination.
Yeah, nobody's asking.
Do you think Civic Center TV is going to start to require us to be vaccinated to come to work like over at Henry Ford?
I doubt it. I would doubt it. I haven't heard anything about it so far. I would think I'd be one of the first people to hear it, but who knows? Yeah.
I will say you kind of wonder about this too, by the way, with Henry Ford requiring the employees to be vaccinated, because we know in Houston the federal judge ruled in favor of the hospital, saying yes, you can mandate the vaccination. So you wonder if more places and more hospital systems are going to start to require that. But you kind of go, with the healthcare industry, because they've been on the front lines of this every day. You would think they'd be the first ones lined up to get vaccinated.
That would be my thought too, and I would think that, I don't know the exact metrics on it. I know that yesterday we had an article on CivicCenterTV.com about that with Henry Ford's health system. They had said, there's metrics there. Currently 68% of team members at Henry Ford Health System, that's across the whole system, had been vaccinated against COVID-19. So they're relatively close to that 70% threshold within their own team, but even that still for a medical system like that is kind of a surprising amount. And on top of that, I would think that the case in Houston is not over at this point in time. There's going to be further appeals on that, and there's going to be other cases that pop up, which is one of the reasons I think that Henry Ford ultimately didn't mandate this requirement to be in place until September. I believe it was September 10th is what they were saying. Yeah, September 10th is where that requirement begins, so that they have some time in case things are reversed and different decisions are made at various high court levels, that they can pull back if need be on this and not make it immediately official. Plus, on top of that, the impact it could have on staffing at that point would be colossal.
Well, but also, though, Tyler, you have to remember, getting your vaccine, especially the 2-dose one,
right,
it's like 5-6 weeks out before you're fully vaccinated. So, you got to kind of put that time frame in perspective as well. As always, you can find the latest headlines. Just go to CivicCenterTV.com, click on coronavirus. There you'll find the headlines, and also at the top of the page, direct links to the CDC, the state of Michigan, if you want to find out more about the My Shot to Win. I'm sure they'll have it posted there on the front page of the state of Michigan's website. And also we have a direct link to Oakland County if you want to find out more about the gift cards. With that, we'll take a break here on the Megacast. When we come back, we have a great show for you on this Thursday edition, which just as a reminder, we will be off tomorrow as well as Monday.
Yeah.
So I already have my red, white, and blue on today.
Very patriotic. I, of course, dressed in black to represent my soul.
Tyler. But with that, so just as a reminder, so that means we'll be off the next couple of days, but this Thursday before the holiday break, we have a great lineup for you. So many people are going to be getting outside this 4th of July, completely different feeling than it was last year. That means they'll be visiting some of the places we didn't go to last year. Downtown Detroit, Tyler, I don't know if you've been in a while. They have so many cool things going on there. And so when we come back, we'll be speaking with the Chief Public Spaces Officer for the Downtown Detroit Partnership with some of the events, cool things happening at the parks there in the downtown area. And then coming up at 10:40, we'll be talking with the owner of Lunar Moon stand-up paddleboard yoga, which is happening at Sylvan Lake. So a lot of fun here on the Thursday edition of the Megacast. That's coming up right after the break.
Can I ask you a question? Why did you get your kids vaccinated?
It was hard for them to social distance, to be isolated from their friends.
I want them to get back to school and sports games. So as a pediatrician, I recommend the vaccine to everyone I know.
The boys lost a former teammate and classmate who was only 20 years old. It's been a devastating year.
We want to get back to normalcy. Our daughter is really looking forward to being with her friends, being a kid.
Can I ask you a question? Why did you get vaccinated?
I'd like to go to these school dances and spring break to have fun.
I want to be in person for college next semester.
I want to get out of this pandemic.
I wanted to protect the people around me.
Why did you get vaccinated?
Because I'm really looking forward to hanging out with my friends.
I just want to go to a show, dance around, not have to worry about anything, feel like I'm free again.
So we can not miss out on the best years of our life.
Thank you for taking time out of your day to be with us on the Megacast. We're here Monday through Friday, except for tomorrow, live 10 a.m. until noon. You can catch us on Civic Center TV, Birmingham Area Municipal Access. Tune us in. You'll find us channel 15 if you have Comcast, 99 on AT&T. You can also listen to us on the radio, 89.3 Lakes FM, 88.1 FM The Biff, or you'll always find us on Facebook as well as we live stream the edition of the Megacast on our Facebook page, Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM. Do you have big plans this holiday weekend?
I don't have official plans yet. I am going to get together with my dad and my brother in some capacity on Sunday, on the day of the holiday, but not sure just yet what we're going to do. We're still trying to figure that out. We're going to probably just play it by ear.
Well, it looks like the weather is going to be nice this weekend, and what a great time to go ahead and explore your own backyard, because we know that while a lot of people are traveling, going up north, if you haven't made any plans or reservations, good luck, because everything has been booked for weeks. So that means stay here, local, right in our own backyard. There are so many cool things to do, especially in the city of Detroit. We want to bring in David Cowan. He's the Chief Public Spaces Officer for Downtown Detroit Partnership. Great to have you with us, David.
Thank you so much for having me on. Pleasure.
So what a cool title you have, Chief Public Spaces Officer.
Yeah, that's right. You know, our team at the Downtown Detroit Partnership has the pleasure of managing, programming, and operating such amazing and incredible public spaces all across the downtown district, including Campus Martius Park, which just won Top Public Square by USA Today here in 2021. So, you know, we get to manage great parks like Beacon Park and Capitol Park, Grand Circus Park, the Woodward Esplanade, really a networking constellation of fun outdoor spaces. And we have no shortage of events as well.
And so with that too, because for anyone who hasn't been downtown recently, it's completely changed. And these parks are so cool. I know that when I was working at the Cranes Communications Building, a lot of times I would stop at Beacon Park on my way into work to take pictures like the Christmas lights. They were so amazing. With that though, what's it been like for you and your team over the past year?
Absolutely. Well, it's been a challenge, but it's certainly been worth it to provide these beautiful, incredible spaces for people throughout the pandemic, because you know they're really important for social, mental health and well-being. And certainly we saw foot traffic in the parks throughout the past year increase by over 40%. So
wow, 40%?
Gravitating. That's right. Yeah, it's been a really great time for people to rediscover their city, to have a staycation in the heart of downtown Detroit, and to really reconnect with each other in a safe environment outdoors. You know, I think a lot of people felt more safe and comfortable in the parks with a lot of room to spread out. And, enjoy some of the socially distant events we had. We're ramping back up now with a pretty robust events calendar. We, in a typical year, we do about 1,700 different kinds of events and programs, everything from food truck rallies to concerts, public art, live music, fitness, markets, movies, film festivals. I mean, there's so much to do in downtown Detroit, but the parks are also just beautiful respites in the heart of the city where you can read a book, enjoy nature. If you're working downtown, grab a bite to eat outside with colleagues, and they offer so much in terms of benefits for the community. And it's over 500,000 square feet of space that the Downtown Detroit Partnership manages, which is no small task. And if we left the parks alone for even a week, they'd be unrecognizable. So they take, a lot of care and attention, and we've got a fantastic team at DDP that is charged with managing these spaces year round, including fall and winter.
And David, with that, again, we're talking with David Cowan. He's the Chief Public Spaces Officer for the Downtown Detroit Partnership. And if I can ask you, because you mentioned that you saw a 40% increase in visitors, but yet at the same time, when you go to downtown Detroit, a lot of the offices are still remote. So is that people from the suburbs that are coming in to explore Detroit? Because that number is so surprising, because you get it if you're working downtown. It's natural for you to go to the park across the street.
Right. We were so confused because there was this ghost town narrative for a year and a half about, downtown's a ghost town. And it certainly was during specific hours and in specific places that were, really reliant on a daytime workforce population. But we saw so many Detroiters rediscovering their downtown and using it as their downtown. And we saw a lot of people from the suburbs, day trippers, coming down because they are remote. They've got more flexibility as to when and where they do work. And also combine that up with the fact that the downtown parks were some of the only things to do, because stadiums were closed, theaters were closed, all these beautiful indoor venues, were closed for so long. And we were able to maintain and continue with activities and events, placemaking efforts outside in the parks, and especially saw a rise in foot traffic on evenings, weekends, non-peak times that we normally wouldn't have seen an increase in traffic. So it was a really interesting look at how public spaces transformed during the pandemic. So we didn't expect it, but a year and a half later, it makes total sense.
And so with that, David, if I can mention, I understand, are you guys getting Wi-Fi in all the parks right now?
Yeah, we actually have it now. We rolled it out in March, completely free, high-speed public Wi-Fi, which has been such a long time coming. The Downtown Detroit Partnership really wanted to play our part in helping to bridge the digital divide. And so we just went for it. We put in all 7 parks and public spaces we manage, we installed with our partners at Cronus Communications. They're a Detroit-based internet company. And we installed, access points in all the parks so that people, no matter where they are, they can hook up online. Super important for people to access resources, be able to have equitable access to the internet, but also great for people who are coming back to work or coming downtown who want to, enjoy and work outside, in the comfort of the outdoors and lots of space. So there are huge benefits to free Wi-Fi all across the board. Detroit is cited across the country as having one of the most extreme digital divides out there. And so, there's a lot of folks in the city that don't have access to internet. So we provide it. There's no barrier to get to the park except for you just log on, no password, no information gathering. You just hook on and do what you need to do.
So with that, if we can talk about the summers coming up, you guys have a lot of fun things planned. Do you want to give us kind of a rundown for some of them?
Yeah, absolutely. And I'll direct you to downtowndetroitparks.com for the full lineup schedule. There's a brochure that you can check out on downtowndetroitparks.com as well, because there's just so much. There's so much that we do across all 7 parks and public spaces. But some of the really new and exciting things that personally I'm thrilled to support with our team is we're presenting Hot Sam's, which is a downtown retailer, they're celebrating their centennial of being in business in downtown Detroit. We're going to have a whole fashion show, concert, marketplace. It's really exciting. It's coming up on July 10th in Campus Martius. You know, a meaningful partnership like that is what we're all about. I'm also really excited about the partnership with the Detroit Auto Dealers Association to bring the Motor City Car Crawl to downtown Detroit. Over 100 cars spread throughout all 7 parks and public spaces, food trucks, music. Sheryl Crow's headlining the VIP Charity Gala this year on Saturday, August 7th. So that's going to be a huge event, and really our first biggest event back when you think about it in about 2 years. We've got night markets at Beacon Park, which are so special, and every Saturday throughout the summer. Family fun days on Sundays at Beacon Park, fitness at Capitol Park, and cultural performances at Capitol Park. So there's so much for everybody to see and do, no matter your interest or age. And yeah, we just encourage you to follow us on social and check out downtowndetroitparks.com.
Hey, David, what's a planning session like for you and your team when you're trying to come up with some of these things?
Yeah, so we're in like 3 different places and times all at once. So we're executing on summer now, but we're planning winter basically, and even into next year. So we're listening to holiday music at the same time we're out in the parks executing on summer. So it's
Christmas
fun.
in July, right?
Right, exactly. And we do the Detroit annual tree lighting, which is a 100,000 person event, went virtual last year. So we're optimistic about being able to come back together in person this year. Still haven't made that decision yet, but we're feeling very optimistic about where COVID cases and vaccinations are at this point.
Yeah, and with that too, because we've been talking about, fireworks are happening this week, and I know a lot of people were upset that the Detroit fireworks were only on TV this year,
Sure.
but you got to remember, these things are planned months in advance, and you can't just pivot like at the last minute. So from a planning standpoint, a little bit of a challenge for you guys.
Absolutely right. Yeah, these events are planned so far in advance. There's a tremendous amount of detail that goes into it, a lot of moving parts and pieces. And you have to remember that there's a large financial risk in all of this too. For us, we're a nonprofit, so we rely on the support of individuals, foundations, corporate sponsors, earned revenue. And so when you look at what makes our mission possible, there's a layer of funding that we have to sort of weigh the risk reward on putting these things off. But at the same time, we want to be pretty bullish as to driving attendance and people back to downtown Detroit, because it's so important for businesses. Yeah. It's so important for people to get outside and come together again. So we've got a big responsibility in the economic recovery of downtown Detroit post-pandemic.
So with that too, you mentioned about being a nonprofit. What's it been like for the team when it comes to trying to raise the money to keep going?
Yeah, it's been an incredible, confusing challenge for a year, because so much was on, off, and we've all got a little bit of whiplash from the confusion that resulted as to government policies and orders, but also understanding at the same time, COVID cases were up and down throughout the past year and a half. So, huge respect for everybody trying to plan and keep things going. We have a responsibility to bring people back downtown, and that's really what we're doing now. And we're almost back to pre-pandemic levels for events. Everybody's wanted to ramp up at the same time. So, and staffing is short right now, but we're meeting that challenge. And sponsorships have been coming back now that things are looking better, and it's been easier for us to get back up to our great funding levels. And we've had partners with us for 10 years who are just longtime supporters. And, they've really invested in the parks for the future generations.
And can I talk a little bit about parking? Is it hard to get parking? That's always an issue when people go to downtown Detroit, and we want to remind people, always park in the legal lots
Yes.
or an illegal
Right.
spot.
Right.
Do not make the mistake of, parking in a lot and someone just collecting money on the side, because there's a good chance your car won't be there when you get back.
Right. Well, and plan ahead. It's so easy now with technology to plan ahead. So I always send people to parkwiz.com Detroit. Not only can you see what garages and lots are open and their hours and their contact info, but in many cases you can book a spot ahead of time and pay for it all completely on your phone. So it's a seamless in-out transaction. And there's so many great places to park, just even a block away from Campus Martius, that I don't think people realize. Like there's fantastic parking options. It just takes a little bit of planning ahead of time. And you'll be just fine. And, there is a lot of street parking available too, but, certainly lots, garages are a great choice.
Yeah, because I think about so many of those lots that rely on all the events to make their money, and those events didn't happen last year. So they need to make up for a lot of lost revenue right now with that. But I didn't know that you could actually, reserve your spot, because just keep in mind too, when you do go down the Park Detroit, it is an app, and
Right.
It's pretty much almost the only way that you can pay that, or with your credit card. So gone are the days where you're putting 50 cents in the meter.
That's right. Yeah. There's a ton of great options, convenient, affordable. Just do a little bit of homework ahead of time before you come down, and it'll make for a really easy experience.
David Cowan with us here on the Megacast. He's the Chief Public Spaces Officer for the Downtown Detroit Partnership. Hey, are pets allowed in the parks?
Yeah, absolutely. And we actually have 2 dog parks, one in Grand Circus Park and one in Capitol Park, both off leash. And we even have fun events in dog park programs for owners and their pets to enjoy throughout the summer. So yeah, absolutely. We're pet friendly, dog friendly, and we just ask that everybody takes their pets to the Grand Circus and Capitol Park.
Ah, that's so nice to know. See, that can be something I do with Trixie Dixie.
Yes, especially with her enjoying the company of other dogs more than people.
Although I'll have to make sure my smart car is fully charged, because charging stations are not yet a thing in downtown Detroit.
Right. And you can get a puppuccino at the Starbucks across the street. So.
See, look at that. But I have a smart car and I only get 70 miles to the charge. So, but when I worked at Cranes has charging stations. Right. But throughout the city of Detroit, they're harder to find.
They are, but Beacon Park actually has some. So just a tip, if you park over at Beacon Park, you can walk easily. So there's 4 fast supercharge stations over there. So there's a tip for you, Ronnie.
I like that. I always get nervous because one time I drove my car to work on the weekend and they didn't have the charging stations on or something. And so I had to drive at home. I was like, am I going to make it? Am I going to make it? So I called my husband up and I was like, hey, just so you know, you may have to charge me on the side of the road, because he had like an FJ Cruiser with the outlet.
Okay.
So I was like, you may have to charge me on the side of the road if I run out of juice. So I get a little nervous about that. Hey, David Cowan, it's been so great talking to you. What's your favorite thing to do right now in one of the parks?
Oh, I love live music. I love performing arts. So I'm ready for concerts. I go to the Friday beach party, which is at the beach at Campus Martius Park every Friday. Live music, cold drinks, and just a fun party atmosphere. So yeah, I encourage you to come down for that every Friday, not this weekend with the 4th, but the following Friday and then moving forward. So yeah, it's just a fun atmosphere.
Do you anticipate it's going to get busier as more people start to return to the offices?
We've seen that already. So, we've seen even from spring to summer, and with Rocket Mortgage bringing a lot of their folks back, with DTE starting to, make consideration. Other larger corporations are starting to make considerations about when and how many employees they would like to welcome back. So we're seeing an increase already.
Normally, I would say if I have to be remote a few days, I know a lot of offices are doing that. Usually you'd be like, no, I want to be remote on Fridays. No, if you work in downtown Detroit, you want to be in the office on Friday, right? Because all the fun is happening on Friday nights.
Absolutely. Yes. And people miss, even the ones that are working remotely now, they miss a lot of aspects about being downtown. We've got 75 food trucks at Cadillac Square that we program and rotate. Like, you can't get that anywhere else. That in that level, and there's just so many unique things about the parks and public spaces that are all free. And so we're seeing people, even if they're working remotely, they'll come down after work or on the weekend. So.
Well, and it's also a good team building exercise for some of the managers. Maybe it's a good way to bring your team back together because they have been remote for so long. So you have a quick meeting in the office, and then everyone goes, down to one of the parks to have a little bit of fun.
That's right. Yeah, we're having a lot of that actually with employers doing little cocktail receptions. Hey, we haven't seen each other in a year and a half much, so let's get back together. So, and yeah, if anybody would like to consider a kind of private booking or corporate booking, we do that a little bit as well. And info on that's on downtowndetroitparks.com.
Well, we so appreciate your time today. Best of luck through the summer. And let's hope that this pandemic really is in our rearview mirror and we can get back to life like we used to know it, and we'll be able to all get together in person for the tree lighting.
Love that. Thank you so much, Ronnie. Thank you. And we'll talk soon.
Hey, by the way, if you want to also get in the Christmas spirit, Hallmark is doing Christmas in July, and they're rerunning all their Christmas specials. So there you go. Put that on in the background.
We search for Detroit's Christmas tree right about now. So just, a little behind the scenes fact on that.
See, look at that.
Fun fact.
Well, it's been fun having you. Thank you again for your time.
Thank you.
Again, if you haven't been to downtown Detroit, they do a lot of fun things, especially if you're on a budget too. You can go down, enjoy the parks. I know that I've been, obviously everyone knows about Campus and Marcius and all the fun things they've been doing there. But there are so many other parks, like Beacon Park. I believe that's the one that's right next door to DTE. Yeah. And it's really cool what they've been doing over there. And they have different stations set up. They always have various games going on. So it's a good time down there.
Yeah, it is. It's a really fun time downtown. And there's a lot going on, not just, of course, the athletic events down there. I was down there just for a Tigers game just a couple weeks before the restrictions were all lifted. And even then, it was a very lively environment down there. There was a lot that was still going on. And now that things are open back up and we're in the summer months and everybody's out looking to have a good time and businesses are looking to have that spark coming back out of the pandemic restrictions, there's going to be a lot going on in a lot of places. In Detroit, as always, a place with a lot of variety to enjoy.
With that, we'll take a quick break here on the Megacast. When we come back, we are going to be talking yoga and paddleboarding. That's next here on the Megacast.
People are getting out to walk and bike in higher numbers. More vulnerable road users and higher speed traffic can be a dangerous combination. Crash severity has increased, so if you're driving, be sure to slow down and look for people. There's no need to speed. If you're biking, ride with traffic. If you're walking, avoid stepping into the road if possible. If you have to walk in the street, walk facing traffic. Learn more at walkbikedrivesafe.org.
One of the things you can look for in your friends is a change in behavior. These can be big changes, they can be small changes in mood, physical appearance. They may be sleeping less or sleeping more, drinking more, or their eating patterns may be different. One big change that can be pretty obvious is change in motivation. Do they no longer want to play basketball? Do they no longer want to play video games? Now that we're spending more time online and in virtual settings, it's really important to pay attention to the language that your friend is using and the words they're using to communicate.
So when we text our friends, are they taking longer amounts of time to respond? Are they not responding at all? You don't have to be an expert to try to recognize these signs. The second that you feel it in your gut and that you're concerned, that's the second to have the conversation and open the door to what might be going on.
Today, it is easier than ever to join Michigan's Organ Donor Registry and help build a bridge of hope for organ, tissue, and eye donation. Just one person can potentially save or help improve the lives of up to 75 people. By joining, your legacy could be the gift of life. Sign up today at michigan.gov/SOS or at any of the more than 145 Secretary of State self-service stations located across Michigan. Be part of Michigan's Bridge of Hope by adding your name to the Organ Donor Registry.
Great to have you with us here on the Megacast. I'm Ronnie Dahl here in the studios alongside Mr. Tyler Kieft. It is the 4th of July holiday weekend. I heard the fireworks going off around the house last night.
Yeah, I haven't heard a lot of fireworks around me. Normally I hear them periodically leading up to the actual holiday, but I don't know if it's maybe just it's been so hot, and when I turn my AC unit on, it is just blasting sound nonstop, and so it drowns it out. But I haven't really heard them a whole lot in my area out near Wixom. But yeah, I would expect they would be nonstop over here. I remember when I lived out in West Bloomfield with my mom and my stepdad, and with my dad also in West Bloomfield in another location. It was constant this time of year.
Well, we are lucky to live with so many lakes near us, and this summer I've been on the hunt trying to debate between getting a kayak or a paddleboard or one of each, and then will my dog sit on the paddleboard. But then I saw they were doing the paddleboard yoga in Sylvan Lake because tonight's volleyball night.
Of course.
So I was like, we've got to get her on because some of these people are really good. So with that, we want to bring in Misty Marcum. She's the owner of Lunar Moon stand-up paddleboard yoga over on Sylvan Lake. Great to have you with us.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
We love that you're out on the water. That is so awesome.
Gotta take advantage of the Michigan summer.
I know, because it doesn't last long enough.
No, it doesn't. And then we had some iffy rain this past week, so now I really got to catch up. But yeah, getting out on the water and taking advantage.
So with that, Misty, I know that we talked to you last summer, and last summer everything was just so different because it was so up and down in the middle of the pandemic. This year with the vaccine and the lower case numbers, are you excited for the summer? Do you think it's going to be crazy busy?
Yes, very much so. People are much more confident about coming out. Last year was just, of course, awkward and very strange, even though I was pretty busy because this was a great social distancing thing to do. You get on your board and paddle away. And for yoga, I would have them just anchored and spaced away from each other. And this year I get to bring back my yoga pod, and the yoga pod docks the boards in the center, and I'm in the center. And I can teach, and it's amazing. So it's definitely booming. People bringing out their own boards as well, and I highly encourage that. And bring your board and get a lesson, learn how to use your equipment. And I've even done some kayak lessons this year, so it's been crazy busy.
That is, that's so great to hear, because for the past year, it seems like there's been a lot of, doom and gloom for so many of the businesses that have been suffering. Yeah. So, and to have someone young as yourself, and you have this business and it's taking off and it's doing so well, it's great to have that going on right here locally in our community. How'd you get started?
Well, I always say, do you want the long story or the short story?
Well, we have 20 minutes, so.
I'll take it right down the middle. I mean, I've always been a water kid, especially with the Great Lakes. My parents did take advantage of fishing and boating. So when I had traveled then onto the ocean, I had seen people on these big giant longboards. And like many other paddleboarders would say, especially in the Midwest, we always thought it was a Hawaii thing, a California thing. And I would say probably about 10 years ago or so, I started seeing boards pop up in Michigan, started Googling it, YouTubing it, and I bought my first board, and I fell in love with it, every part of it, out here on Sylvan Lake. And then I would travel and take it up to Lake Michigan and the northern parts of Michigan up there. And I started introducing people to it, and they were like, well, what do I do? Well, before I knew it, I had my yoga certification, and now I was showing more people how to stand up on a paddleboard. And I found my SUP certification in San Diego. So I'm certified water safety through paddleboarding and yoga. And then I started my business. I bought a fleet of boards, which the boards that I do use, I could show you, possibly. I'm sitting on it. And it's super stable. I bought these boards, and I have a lot of experience with buying boards, trust me. And these boards, they're super stable for yoga. It's like a big giant yoga mat on top. They're inflatables. They sit about 6 inches high off of the water. So they're not the potato chip looking surfboards.
I will say with that, Misty, too, when I was on your website, there is a lady in the picture, and she's actually wearing like real yoga clothes, like pants. And I was like, that's some confidence, because I'm like, how do you not end up in the water trying? It's hard enough doing yoga. Like, I fall over doing yoga, and now you want to put me on a paddleboard in the water and not fall over?
This is true, but most think that they actually don't. They don't fall. I had a lady out the other night actually, and well, go back. I did teach her how to do it on land first. So we did some standing up with the paddle and everything. And I actually have these discs that make them kind of wobbly, and that mimics water. So then she came out for her first time and stood up and paddled, and she did not fall in. She did amazing. She did great. And, sometimes it depends on the wind too, but you can always stay kneeling for the paddle part. For yoga, we do something maybe a little more gentle or grounded. So you're not trying standing warrior or standing on your head. And no, you don't have to be a pro to come out. That's for sure.
So have you had a lot of beginners last year and this year?
Tons. Everybody is a beginner. And of course they do think that they might be holding back the group, but that's not true either, because really, like, I have so much experience with newbies that I know which ones might have a little more experience or confidence. And if they paddle ahead just a little bit and I stay back more like a mother duck with the newbies, then that's fine with me. And I just, coach them along.
Again, we're talking with Misty Marcum. She's the owner of Lunar Moon. Do you actually spell out stand-up paddleboard, or is that SUP, paddleboard lingo?
Yeah, it is. It's lingo. SUP is the abbreviation for stand-up paddleboard, and that is still a term that is growing in knowledge amongst people.
I've been seeing some of the stickers. Mm-hmm. And they say SUP, and I always think, what's up?
Yeah,
I don't.
okay.
That's kind of it. Yeah, SUP.
So, Misty, too, I will say you're going to have a couple new beginners this weekend, because I just signed up this morning, and I was thinking, like, I'm doing the budding one. I was like, I'm going to have my husband do it with me, but I didn't tell him, and then I realized, though, that he has the Tour de France, so he may try to back out of it, but we'll see. If not, I'll get my twin sister.
Oh, perfect. That would be amazing.
One of them. Hey, look, we shared a room together for 9 months. She should have to share my pain on a paddleboard.
Sure, why not?
You guys could be across the pod, or you could just be right next to each other.
See, look at that. So with that, too, what should people know when they're coming to sign up? And if they're a little unsure, what do they need to know besides have fun?
Besides have fun, open mind, of course, and a little bit of trust. I mean, I do have experience doing this. I'm certified, and it's all about sharing the stoke and just the SUP community growing and everything. But sometimes I get about the clothing, which we just talked about. And I mean, it could be a bathing suit underneath, like board shorts, or just something that's comfortable, a tank top. I mean, you don't have to be full two-piece or two-piece bathing suit. You can kind of cover up, of course, and sunscreen. But yeah, just show up open-minded and willing to learn, for sure. And there's always room for a modification, even if you're just paddling. Because like I said, if you sit or you stay kneeling, because wind and waves sometimes, that helps build your confidence. You don't have to stand right away, and you don't have to stand on your head for yoga.
So, and I will say, I remember one year we were in France, and we were going to go paddleboarding, and the wind was so wicked, and you saw people out there, and they were paddling their little hearts out, and they were going nowhere. I was like, I'll go parasailing instead.
Yeah,
because it's a workout.
Yeah, that happens. And that can be a complete total workout. Then it's not just like your core. Now I will say with paddling, it is your legs and your feet too. But when you're trying against the wind, now you're engaging more muscles than normal.
So what advice would you give to someone who's thinking about getting a paddleboard or starting out on, trying this? Because it is a sport.
Yes.
Do you recommend that they come and they take a class or something like from someone like yourself first before investing in the equipment?
Yeah, I would, because believe it or not, most really don't know what they're buying. And if they've never been on one or if they've never taken a class, then how do they really even know how to use the equipment? So I had a few boards that I had to sell this year, and I, as a service, showed them how to inflate them, what equipment they were getting, how to fold it back up, put it back in the bag, because they come with these amazing travel bags with wheels, and I mean, you could take it on a plane if you want. So I would definitely recommend that. I have seen quite a bit here living on the lake, and not to shame anyone, because we're all learners. Fins on backwards, holding the paddle even the wrong way. And then as soon as you told them, just twist that paddle, they're like, oh, that's so much better. That's amazing. So just the littlest detail can, not make the experience also great.
I love to see young entrepreneurs such as yourself, and but you also sell like clothing and lip balm. I mean, you're not just on the water all the time.
You're right. Yeah, I started a lip balm brand as well with the paddleboarding, just because I've always kind of had problems with my lips, and I developed my own recipe. And then SPF came like later, because I'm always on the water and I need my lips covered. So zinc is, what surfers use on their nose and their cheeks and everything when they're out in the water for many hours. So that's how that kind of got developed. And then, yeah, a little bit of tank tops and some clothing as well.
And with that, again, we're talking with Misty Marcum. She's the owner of Moon Sup Yoga, which is happening pretty much, you do it, every weekend out on Sylvan Lake?
Almost every day, actually. And I do book private groups as well and private lessons. So anybody that has purchased a board and might be scared to take it out of the box or put it in the water, I can always book with you and show you how to use your equipment and get you on the water and give you a lesson, and then keep developing those skills. We are out here like every Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and I just started a Monday night floating meditation, which would be awesome even for a beginner, because we're going to paddle a little bit, maybe do a little bit of flow of yoga, nothing crazy, just some gentle movement, and then a meditation.
I love that. Hey, Misty, too, I know that you're doing a podcast now, as if you weren't busy enough. Tell us about your podcast.
My podcast is called Wave On, and I started it back in the fall. And really, I had a little bit of radio background as well. Not a lot. I was just an intern, but it was for a live show. I fell in love with it years ago. And I always dreamed about my own podcast. And then I started researching it. And I had a friend who just kept encouraging me, do it. You have to do it, because you need to interview these people. And I found all kinds of paddleboarders around the world that, through Instagram and Facebook, and they're sharing their story. And some of them are entrepreneurs. Some of them just go around and pick up trash in the Potomac River.
Wow.
Amazing. Yeah. He covers his whole board with trash that he picks up that comes in and out with the tide. And so I've met some really great people, and actually they feel like now they all kind of know each other in a strange way, because they're listening to the podcast and now they have images from Instagram.
That is so great. Hey, Misty, I see the sun's coming out. You best background ever. Can you show us your board? And I don't know, how do you have your phone? Do you have your phone on a tripod or something?
I do have it on a tripod, but I can kind of give you like a little spin. I'm here at the dock where we have classes, and this is my brand new Yoga Evolve board that I just got with the rest of the fleet. So you can kind of see the material that I was talking about. It's super soft. It's like alligator skin. And then the whole board is covered from front to back. And you can kind of see that there. So it's super soft and stable.
So could people use that as a regular paddle board as well?
Yes, definitely. And especially if you are a beginner, there's many types of boards that I can even, school you on that one too. As you get more experience, there's race boards, there's smaller surfboards. And then, like I said, this one, it fits my need for holding classes.
So is that the dock that is right there by the boat club?
Actually, the boat club is just that way, like that way a little bit.
So
yeah.
Which dock do you work out of then?
I am just past the rest of Ferndale Park, and I have a bright yellow dock and a Chris Craft.
That's so great. Well, I will see you Saturday morning, bright and early.
I'm so excited.
I know. I'm hoping to get my husband out there because that would be so worth it. But and plus, he's a sports guy.
Right, exactly.
He could do it as a sports story. It's research.
Totally.
Exactly.
Yes, totally. Total great exploring through other movement and just using other muscles, especially the feet. You know, where you just stand on solid ground all the time and you take it out with floating, and it's a whole nother experience.
And Misty, I always tell him too, the last time I got him in yoga, it was because I told him it was going to be good for his golf game. Mm-hmm. You know, he needs the flexibility.
Exactly. Yeah.
Definitely. Exactly. That is totally true.
It's all how we manipulate our guys.
It's all friendly.
It's been so fun talking to you. Thank you for your time, and we'll see you Saturday.
Yeah, see you on Saturday, Ronnie. Thank you for having me on the show. I loved it.
Hey, and quickly, what's your website if people want to sign up?
LunaMoonSupYoga.com.
Okay, and I know people can also find you on Facebook. You had a great picture someone posted, and they had their dog, a husky, out on their paddleboard. That's my goal with
Luna.
Trisky. Oh, really?
That's Luna.
Oh, see, that's my goal with my dog, is to get her out.
Yeah, definitely. For sure. And my latest podcast was actually Sup Pups from San Diego, and she talks about paddleboard. She teaches owners how to paddle with their dogs.
See, I'm on to something, Tyler.
Yes, you are.
Well, it's been so fun having you. Thank you for your time. Just to let everyone know, you're listening to 89.3 WBLD Orchard Lake, 88.1 WBFH Bloomfield Hills. Again, thank you to Misty Marcum, owner of Lunar Moon Sup Yoga. Go ahead and find her on Facebook or through her website and sign up. Take one of her classes. Support local. And have some fun at the same time. We'll take a quick break here on the Megacast. When we come back, still a lot to get to in the 11 o'clock hour of the show. Coming up next, we'll be speaking with the Marketing and Communications Director for Forgotten Harvest. That's next here on the Megacast.
Who is struggling right now?
I am.
My son is.
Many are struggling with anxiety, depression, and substance use. Before it becomes a crisis, reach out to MyCal, the Michigan Crisis and Access Line, for free confidential support 24/7. Available in the Upper Peninsula and Oakland County. Just call or text 1-844-44-MyCal or chat online at michigan.gov/MyCal. A message from the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services.
Motorcyclists are hard to see. To keep everyone safer, it's important to always look for them and know where most crashes occur. 84% of motorcycle and vehicle crashes happen on streets, not highways. And most crashes with motorcyclists occur when vehicle drivers are turning left. So before turning, especially to the left, make sure you look for motorcyclists. Then look again. It could save a life.
One of the things you can look for in your friends is a change in behavior. These can be big changes, they can be small changes in mood, physical appearance. They may be sleeping less or sleeping more, drinking more, or their eating patterns may be different. One big change that can be pretty obvious is change in motivation. Do they no longer want to play basketball? Do they no longer want to play video games? Now that we're spending more time online and in virtual settings, it's really important to pay attention to the language that your friend is using and the words they're using to communicate.
So when we text our friends, are they taking longer amounts of time to respond? Are they not responding at all? You don't have to be an expert to try to recognize these signs. The second that you feel it in your gut and that you're concerned, that's the second to have the conversation and open the door to what might be going on.
Whatever gets you talking.
Thank you for taking time out of your Thursday to be with us here on the Megacast. I'm Ronnie Dahl here in the studios alongside Mr. Tyler Kieft. We are here Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. until noon live, except for tomorrow and Monday. We will be taking the days off for the holiday. But you can always catch previous episodes of the Megacast. Just go to civiccentertv.com, click on Megacast. There you'll find full episodes, or if you hit the on-demand section, you can watch the individual interviews as well. For so many people this time of year, while I know it's been an unusual school year, typically in the summertime it's hard for families because so many kids rely on school lunches to be able to get their food. And we know that so many families do go hungry in the summertime. And, over the last year, we have to remember the need is greater than ever. And, but the organization that has been here in Detroit for more than 30 years now, helping the community, feeding the community, Forgotten Harvest. Great to have Chris Ivey with us here on the show. He's the Marketing and Communications Director for Forgotten Harvest. We appreciate your time today.
Oh, thank you. Good morning. Almost good afternoon, but good morning.
I know. It's been one of those weeks, Chris.
It has been.
So can you talk to us a little bit about, in the summer months, we know it's been unusual because so many kids have been remote, but I know the need for food typically goes up in the summertime because kids aren't in school relying on that school lunch program.
Yeah, I mean, the school lunch, schools are closed, so those school lunches, those reduced or no-cost lunches are gone. So Forgotten Harvest, with lots of our partners, we help distribute those lunches throughout the summertime. We've got our Healthy Foods, Healthy Kids program, which is how these lunches get out. And we're distributing this summer about 150,000 lunches through our mobile pantry networks. Wow. To make sure that those kids get those lunches and that they have that healthy, nutritious, stable part of their day. During the school year, it sort of helps them it gives them the basis to perform well in school. Healthy food makes healthy minds, makes better children, and that kind of mindset goes throughout the summer as well. So we're just giving them that baseline healthy meal that's going to help them, just get through the summer. Some of them may be in summer classes, it maybe not, but we want to make sure that we've got something there for them.
So with that, Chris, if I can ask you, because I know that just as someone who's worked in office spaces, we always had the donation boxes set out around the office, especially to help in the summertime and around Christmas time. How is that looking right now for your organization? Because so many people still are working remotely. How are donations for your team?
We've been really blessed, actually. If there had to be a highlight of the pandemic, I think that was that everyone sort of felt for their neighbors and they started to care and think about their neighbors, because we all suffered one way or another from the pandemic. Many of us had family members that got sick. Many of us have lost family members. So I think one of the only benefits that I can think of from the pandemic is that, we all kind of thought about others a little bit more than we possibly had been. Gave us a little bit of time to slow down and think about it, our friends and neighbors. So therefore, people have been very generous. Forgotten Harvest has done, we've gotten lots of donations throughout the pandemic. The community support has been outrageous. Corporate sports, philanthropy, it's just been fantastic. That's not to say that the need is not still there, right? I mean, the pandemic is, fingers crossed, hopefully over, and then we're all coming out on the backside of this. But, the need will continue, and the long-term effects of, work closures and slowdowns and people losing jobs. Lots of the service industry people, a lot of the hourly temporary work has not come back on yet. So those are the people that are even closest to, the fringes that might need stuff. So our lines are a little bit shorter than during the heart of the pandemic, but the lines continue to be long and the need continues to be there. So the fundraising efforts from Forgotten Harvest won't stop.
With that, Chris, I was at the grocery store this week and it was a little bit of an ouch moment when you paid, because it seems like food prices are skyrocketing right now. Do you feel the impact there at Forgotten Harvest like we do at the grocery store?
We do. Forgotten Harvest is primarily, we're a food rescue organization, so we get what is overruns and extras and seconds, or the dented bruised apples are typically, that's kind of our sweet spot. So with the logistics of food, the trucking industry, there's a huge driver shortage all across the nation. So getting things from point A, from the grower to the grocery store, or to the grower to the grocery store to us, that's a challenge, and that increased cost is passed down to the consumer. And many times there's just less food for us to rescue. So we've got a food staff that our food acquisition staff here at Forgotten Harvest does a fantastic job of continuing to find new ways, new partnerships to be able to get the food in so that we can maintain our levels. I can say today is January. No.
We don't want to go back to January.
No. We'll stay in July, but today's July 1st. So this is the first day of our new fiscal year. And I can say that Forgotten Harvest hit a record last year. We distributed 50 million pounds of food to Metro Detroiters. That is the most we've ever done in the history of the organization. And we've fed over 1 million people through the pandemic last year. So Forgotten Harvest, we're bursting at the seams with the food that we do have. We've got our Oak Park warehouse where I am today. We've got a Royal Oak warehouse right at 14 Mile and Coolidge, which is full. And we've got volunteers. We're open again for volunteers. We've got them coming in. We're keeping them socially distanced, wearing a mask if they're indoors. We've got volunteer opportunities, indoors, outdoors. But we've got all the volunteers. We're trying to get all the volunteers we can back into the organization, helping us create food boxes and sort and glean the food and continue. Our goal is to beat the 50 million for next year too. And with having to do it without a pandemic will be a challenge, but that'll be fun as well. Wow.
You like challenges, don't you?
We do. We like to challenge ourselves. It's funny. We all look at this, we all have our roles we play inside the organization, me in marketing, then we've got food specialists, but we all look at it like we're all trying to put ourselves out of work. If we can end hunger in Metro Detroit, then we all can go home and say, we did our job and we solved that problem. We know that we can't do it by ourselves, but we're looking at that big challenge of creating a food security network for Metro Detroiters, and hopefully we can solve it. And hopefully there'll be no kid, no family, no person hungry in Metro Detroit if we do it well.
So where do you rescue your food from typically?
Well, we get it from everywhere. We've got great partnerships with Kroger and Meijer and some of the big box stores around town, the Costco's and Sam's Clubs, all the way down into smaller grocery stores, independent grocery stores. And then we get food all the way up the food chain from the distributors themselves. So it's, like I said, our food acquisition team is looking everywhere and anywhere. So we've got over 35 trucks driving all around Metro Detroit doing daily pickups at grocery stores. Anywhere that there is food, we're out there trying to find it typically.
Well, I'm thinking about too, you had a record year last year, which really is kind of sad though, but you also did it in the middle of a pandemic. And we have to remember at the beginning, we were all stuck at home and people weren't volunteering. Your organization really relies on volunteers to help with that bottom line. So is it looking better for the summer? Are volunteers coming back?
They are slowly coming back online. I mean, we have had an incredible group of, we call them our volunteer all-stars that have continued to volunteer with the organization through the pandemic. I mean, we did everything we can do to keep them socially distanced, masked up, gloves, even flip down face shields in the beginning. They are starting to come back online. Forgotten Harvest typically, in a typical year, needs about 15,000 volunteers a year. Yeah, right. And because we're now in 2 locations, we're doing mobile pantries. We even need more, to be honest. So, if we can get 15,000 volunteers this year, that would be really great for us, because we've got over 70 mobile pantries per week that we need volunteers to help with. We've got 2 opportunities here in Oak Park, 2 opportunities per day, an AM and a PM opportunity in both locations, and we can have up to 20 individuals in each of those. So you can see those numbers, 80 people a day times 2 locations, and that math gets really big really quick. So if anyone is looking to volunteer, go to our website, forgottenharvest.org, and click on the volunteer link, and there's lists of opportunities there. And we promise to keep you safe and socially distance and mask up if you want to. We always are looking for additional help because the organization, although we're very mighty, we're also very few. And many hands make, what is the phrase? Many hands make idle work, or something along that line.
I think that it's close, right? It's close.
Not quite it, but it's in there.
It's getting there.
Chris Ivey with us here on the Megacast. He handles marketing and communications for Forgotten Harvest. And with that, we should note that we are going through a devastating time even here locally right now with the recent flooding. You see the homes, I've covered the story countless times, and families are losing everything. Some parts of the city, too, they're still without power. Some people have been without power for, going on like a week now. We've been so lucky here in the greater West Bloomfield area. But, I remember those times, too, and you lose everything, and you have to start over. And trying to fill that refrigerator again can be costly.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we even today we had a special distribution today in the Dearborn area for one of the areas that were really, really hard hit there. We had a special truck drop-off distribution there because that community, some of the grocery stores had lost power, so that the food isn't available.
Oh, see, and I didn't even think about the grocery stores as well with that. And so, Chris, if I can ask you, if the family is in need, how does it work? Do they need to apply, or do you have the drop-off sites where they just drive through?
There's no qualifications. There's no applications. There's nothing at all. All they need to do is go to our, they can either follow us on social media. We post every morning about the distributions for that day, or they can go to our website, forgottenharvest.org. There's a link on the top right corner that says find food. They click on that link, and there's an interactive map actually where you can type in your zip code, and it'll find you the closest pantries nearest you. And then there's days, times of the weeks, and you can kind of figure out what works best for each individual.
So can people pick up for others? Like if they know of an elderly neighbor in their community, maybe that needs help, can they pick up for them as well?
Yes, absolutely.
See,
yes, and all of the food is distributed free of charge. There's no donations. There's very little. There is a sign-up sheet just so that we know how many people in each family, what zip code they're coming from, and that just what that does for us is it helps us track how many people we're feeding, and it lets us know where these areas, geographically they're coming from, so that when we're looking to add a new pantry, or if we see an increased need in a certain area or a certain neighborhood, then we can internally make those business decisions to help support those areas of the greatest need.
And that's great to know, too, because we do know there are some people that are struggling themselves, but they see someone with need, and they feel like maybe they don't have the extra funds to be able to go buy the food themselves. But this is a good way, like you said, to help that neighbor, because we do know a lot of people still have a pride issue with accepting donations.
Yeah, well, and transportation is a tough one too. Not everybody is as mobile as others, right? So especially you had mentioned the elderly. Sometimes there's someone who's homebound or doesn't have a vehicle, or their vehicle is not reliable, or maybe they can't drive for whatever reason. They'll have a friend, a neighbor, a family member come pick up for 3 or 4 families, and then they'll distribute to their own families too. Yeah, that happens quite often.
Again, we're talking with Chris Ivey. He's marketing and communications for Forgotten Harvest. Chris, we always appreciate having you on the show and your team, but also all the work that you're doing to help support the community. Anything maybe we didn't touch on that you want to add before we say goodbye?
No, just, follow us on social media. Go to Facebook, find us on social media, on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn for our businesses. And remember, Forgotten Harvest has been here for 30 years. We've got lots of exciting things happening. We've got we're building a purpose-specific building, a distribution center and mixing center right about a mile from here on 8 Mile. So we've got a buy a brick campaign for that. So if someone wants to be a foundational member of Forgotten Harvest for the next 30 years, that's a great way to do that. We've got some special events coming up. We've got a really great new special event coming up in October. I do believe it's October 14th. Could be wrong, that might change, but let's say October 14th. And it's gonna be, it's called Chop Down Hunger. And it's gonna be a brand new virtual event for us. And it's gonna be really exciting. And I can't say who's gonna be the host, but I can say that you will recognize them from television. Once that contract is all signed, then we can come out with that, and there'll be a big press release in a few weeks. But yeah, that's super exciting and super fun. And then the organization, you know, we're always looking for volunteers. You know, go to the website, you can volunteer. And if anybody needs food, most importantly, they can go on our website and find that find food link there. Apologize for the phone. They can click on the find food link, and then all of that food, you know, we've got over 170 pantry partners throughout Metro Detroit. So if you're in need of food in any area, whether it be West Bloomfield or Westland, you know, there's a location near you for help. So don't be embarrassed. Come and get the help. You know, we're here if you need us.
And we should remember too, you have the food. You don't want to go to waste as well. So we need to make sure we get it to the people who need it.
Yes, exactly. I mean, a lot of what we have is fresh food and, you know, refrigerator type food, and it does spoil. So we have to get it out into the community as quickly as we can. I mean, we don't have the space to store it all. So it's got to go out as fast as it comes in. So
I wonder what your logistics team is like.
They are actually, you know what? They are truly amazing. I've been here 3.5 years, and I'm still stunned on how 50 million pounds of food goes through the one door that we have and goes out in all these trucks. I mean, they start really early. They load trucks for today, last night, and then all afternoon from basically 9 o'clock in the morning till 3 o'clock in the afternoon. There's huge semi trucks being delivered. And then after 3, our grocery rescue guys and girls are all coming back with the food that they've been out all day with. So the logistics of it is, you know, even 3 years, it still stuns me on how they get it all done.
Amazing. Well, Chris, we appreciate your time, and please extend our gratitude to your entire team as well.
I will. And thank you to the community. We appreciate all of you as well. And thank you for having me on.
Oh, always. You're always welcome on the Megacast. Chris Ivey with Forgotten Harvest. We'll take a quick break here on the Megacast. On the back side, we are going to be talking about cyber security. That's next here on the Megacast.
Can I ask you a question?
Why did you get your kids vaccinated?
It was hard for them to social distance, to be isolated from their friends.
I want them to get back to school and sports games. So as a pediatrician, I recommend the vaccine to everyone I know.
The boys lost a former teammate and classmate who was only 20 years old. It's been a devastating year.
We want to get back to normalcy. Our daughter is really looking forward to being with her friends, being a kid.
Can I ask you a question? Why'd you get vaccinated?
I'd like to go to these school dances and spring break to have fun.
I want to be in person for college next semester.
I want to get out of this pandemic.
I wanted to protect the people around me.
Why did you get vaccinated? Because I'm really looking forward to hanging out with my friends.
I just want to go to a show, dance around, not have to worry about anything, feel like I'm free again.
So we can not miss out on the best years of our life.
People are getting out to walk and bike in higher numbers. More vulnerable road users and higher speed traffic can be a dangerous combination. Crash severity has increased, so if you're driving, be sure to slow down and look for people. There's no need to speed. If you're biking, ride with traffic. If you're walking, avoid stepping into the road if possible. If you have to walk in the street, walk facing traffic. Learn more at walkbikedrivesafe.org.
One of the things you can look for in your friends is a change in behavior. These can be big changes, they can be small changes in mood, physical appearance. They may be sleeping less or sleeping more, drinking more, or their eating patterns may be different. One big change that can be pretty obvious is change in motivation. Do they no longer want to play basketball? Do they no longer want to play video games? Now that we're spending more time online and in virtual settings, it's really important to pay attention to the language that your friend is using and the words they're using to communicate.
So when we text our friends, are they taking longer amounts of time to respond, or they not responding at all, you don't have to be an expert to try to recognize these signs. The second that you feel it in your gut and that you're concerned, that's the second to have the conversation and open the door to what might be going on.
Whatever gets you talking.
Today, it is easier than ever to join Michigan's Organ Donor Registry and help build a bridge of hope for organ, tissue, and eye donation. Just one person can potentially save or help improve the lives of up to 75 people. By joining, your legacy could be the gift of life. Sign up today at michigan.gov/SOS or at any of the more than 145 Secretary of State self-service stations located across Michigan. Be part of Michigan's Bridge of Hope by adding your name to the Organ Donor Registry.
Who is struggling right now?
I am.
My son is.
Many are struggling with anxiety, depression, and substance use. Before it becomes a crisis, reach out to MyCal, the Michigan Crisis and Access Line for free confidential support 24/7. Available in the Upper Peninsula and Oakland County. Just call or text 1-844-44-MyCal or chat online at michigan.gov/MyCal. A message from the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services.
Motorcyclists are hard to see. To keep everyone safer, it's important to always look for them and know where most crashes occur. 84% of motorcycle and vehicle crashes happen on streets, not highways. And most crashes with motorcyclists occur when vehicle drivers are turning left. So before turning, especially to the left, make sure you look for motorcyclists. Then look again. It could save a life.
Thank you for taking time to be with us on this Thursday morning for the Megacast. We are here Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. until noon live, except for tomorrow and Monday.
Yeah, taking a longer holiday, making some adjustments over here, giving the team a little bit of time to breathe and get things going for after the holiday as well. And all the listeners to, have plenty of time to catch up on all the Megacast interviews and episodes that they may have missed during their busy schedule before the holiday.
More than a year into the show, and I will say, Tyler, I still learn something new every single day because we are able to bring in people to interview them in depth about so many of the issues that we are all facing, not only with the pandemic, but outside of the pandemic as well. And I will say the true heroes throughout the pandemic, all the IT workers. Out there. I think they are so underrated, but we have all experienced IT difficulties throughout this pandemic, especially for businesses, in the office, out of the office, people were working remotely. But now as more and more offices are starting to reopen and a lot are offering that hybrid situation as well. What does it look like from a business standpoint? We want to bring in our good friend Carly Check. She's an account manager over at Expert Communications. They have been providing IT support to small businesses throughout the area here since 1994. Carly, what a year it's been for the team.
It's been insane, to say the least. A year of not being able to connect face-to-face with individuals has really helped us in strengthening our team, our communications, how we work with each other, how we work with our clients. So it's been eye-opening, it's been a learning experience, and we're ready for the new normal.
And I think that a lot of small businesses, you hope that they appreciate what goes into the IT side. This isn't a matter of just going to get a computer and hooking it up, especially when you're starting to do that work from home as well. And now people are going back and forth. So what security concerns could they fall into?
There's multiple security risks that an IT company like Expert is thinking about for you. And there's a new buzz phrase that I want to put out there, and it's understanding what your cybersecurity hygiene looks like. So I'm not trying to say that your computer's dirty or anything, surface level. But when you are transferring back and forth, if you are eligible to be in a hybrid work environment, which you can see I'm still working from my home office, and we will be transitioning back into our office on certain days. But you want to make sure that your actual computer that you've been transferring back and forth with has a cleanup. So making sure that you are allowing all the patches to come through, making sure you are updating your passwords. And I highly suggest adding a multi-factor authenticator onto any of your devices that you are utilizing. Makes it harder for someone else to crack that code. Making sure that your software and your hardware is up to date. And you can do that by running quick tests on it from home. Or I would highly suggest, if you work in an environment where you're going back into your office and you do have an IT professional on site or a team like experts, call them, contact them first, and see if we can just do a quick cleanup. We'll run it for scans, we'll run it for antiviruses if you haven't had one connected, making sure that
You froze up on us there for just a second, Carly. Usually it's a little bit of a drag and it catches up here in a second.
everything just looks.
So, Carly, we lost the last part there because you froze up a little bit. So when we were you were talking about going back into the office, like some of those computers have been sitting for a year.
Some of your computers, so if you've been working hybrid,
you're good there.
It looks like we have a bad connection. Okay. If you are working in a hybrid and you are now taking your laptop or PC from your home office back into your office, I would suggest making sure that your IT professional can do a scan on it and confirm that your software is up to date, your hardware is up to date, all of your licenses are up to date, meaning your antivirus, ransomware, malware, all of that. If you are going to work in a 2-office scenario, you want to make sure that your home office and your home network is cleaned up. And you want to make sure that you're not transferring anything back and forth, because if you're at home utilizing a work PC or laptop and you're looking at things that you normally wouldn't look at when you're in the office, or
what she's trying to say there is, you've been shopping on your computer while you've been working remote. Go ahead. We all know it. We've been surfing Pinterest.
We've been surfing. We've been doing a lot of things. You might even look into your own personal emails. All of those put you at risk if you do not have a secured network. If you have a spouse or partner or children at home or a roommate, they are surfing on the same network that you are. Now you're taking that laptop back into your office and you are risking infecting your office network. So first I would say, make sure that you are preparing yourself to go back in that work mode. Meaning, even if there's no boss behind me, he can see what I'm doing. We can track it down. We can
a little bit more of a lag. I always hate this when this happens too, because when they go back and they watch their interview, they're going to be like, but because you get important information. Hey, Carly, if I can ask you, for some reason we get a little bit of drag with your internet. I think when you start talking with your hands, it happens at least a few times a week, just so you know. It's pretty common. But if I can ask you, what about people, like you just mentioned, if you're bringing your laptop from home back into the office, what about the ones that maybe they have one computer at home, but yet they go back into work and they have an old school one on their desk? Although I always wonder, do people really still we have computers here. It seems like everyone has a laptop now. And trying to, will your work should it be seamless from what you did at home to what you're doing at work on a different computer?
It should be seamless as long as you were connected with like a remote connection, so that you were working from home off of your laptop, but connecting into your work PC. There's multiple different types of solutions for this, especially like a file sync share. The most common ones are Dropbox, OneDrop. Understanding that you can pull your files from anywhere in the world as long as you have your credentials.
And I want to ask you too, because we had the guy on earlier from the Detroit Parks Department down there, and he was talking about, hey, they have Wi-Fi at all of these parks now in Detroit. You don't need to log in, you can just go in. So if you're working remote, go sit at the park. And I was immediately thinking, well, doesn't that put your computer at risk if they're not using, what's it called, a VPN or something like that?
VPN, yeah, a virtual private network. I would highly recommend not utilizing a public Wi-Fi when doing anything work-related. You should have a VPN connection so that it makes it even harder.
Carly Check with us here on the Megacast. She's an account manager for Expert Communications, and we're talking about security issues as we all start to go back to work in a hybrid situation. Some of the things we should think about, because one thing, like, while unemployment rates are up and we seem to have issues with a lot of people not wanting to go back to work, who's been working overtime throughout the pandemic? All the scammers, Carly. These scammers they're getting so good, though.
We have to keep in mind that in the past 3 years, basically, we had end of life for Windows 7. We had to push everybody off of that onto the Windows 10 platform and the new Office 2019. Then all of a sudden we had the pandemic hit. So all these hackers have been waiting for these moments. And we're talking around the globe, the dark.
It would appear that we've lost Carly's connection again, but yeah, talking about these hackers that are getting into people's information, that are being active on the dark web, and getting that information out in places you don't really want to have it. And so you have to be extra careful, not only with your own computer information, but also like monitoring your personal information as well, in case it does get out there and something is breached. It looks like we may have Carly back. Okay, now I'm not seeing her once again, so we'll see what we have here, Ronnie.
But with that though, if you go to Expert Communications, their website, they do have a blog up that one of their experts, he's always really good about posting some of this information. That's important for us to remember, because I will tell you, as someone, we all know my husband fell for one of these scams. It's not a fun time. And trying to recover from it. So, hey, Carly, we're so sorry, because we keep kind of losing your screen. You're freezing up, but it does happen quite a bit. But we want to say thank you. What's the website again? Because you guys also post some good information on your social media.
Yes, you can reach us at expert.com or on LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter. Please read our blogs. Tell us what you want to learn more about. Reach out to us. We are consultants first, and we would love to assist in any way possible.
We so thank you for your time. Carly Check with us, Expert Communications. It's a local IT support company here for small businesses. And like I said, the IT experts have really been the true heroes throughout this pandemic, and they've been on the front lines. And they're doing everything remote now. And so it's one thing to have an IT person and you're in the building and you walk through, everyone yells, hey, can you fix this? You can fix this. But Imagine doing it remotely for so many people. It takes a lot of extra time.
Yeah, and I think about the transitions that they had to make throughout the pandemic, too, to go from a situation where we were in a traditional working format in an office to all of a sudden working virtually, and then to be adjusting to all these different virtual programs that people were using to communicate with one another, whether it be something that emerged from this pandemic like Zoom, or something that had been used regularly in the past like Skype or Google Meets or Microsoft Teams or something like that, and getting everybody acclimated to that, but also making sure that they're staying secure with that as well and keeping those communications up. And then, as you said, keeping all of that happening while not physically being in front of this person's computer most of the time, and being able to get together with one person or another to look at their devices.
Yeah, great advice though, because so many people don't think when they're going back into the office what's been on their laptop. So be smart about it as well. Hey, we'll take a quick break here on the Megacast. We have to jump out of the show a little bit early, but before we go, we want to talk fireworks, because here locally tomorrow night, fingers crossed, the weather is nice, the big fireworks will be going off. That's next here on the Megacast.
One of the things you can look for in your friends is a change in behavior. These can be big changes, they can be small changes in mood, physical appearance. They may be sleeping less or sleeping more, drinking more, or their eating patterns may be different. One big change that can be pretty obvious is change in motivation. Do they no longer want to play basketball? Do they no longer want to play video games?
Now that we're spending more time online and in virtual settings, it's really important to pay attention to the language that your friend is using and the words they're using to communicate.
So when we text our friends, are they taking longer amounts of time to respond? Are they not responding at all? You don't have to be an expert to try to recognize these signs. The second that you feel it in your gut and that you're concerned, that's the second to have the conversation and open the door to what might be going on.
Can I ask you a question? Why did you get your kids vaccinated?
It was hard for them to social distance, to be isolated from their friends.
I want them to get back to school and sports games. So as a pediatrician, I recommend the vaccine to everyone I know.
The boys lost a former teammate and classmate who was only 20 years old. It's been a devastating year.
We want to get back to normalcy. Our daughter is really looking forward to being with her friends, being a kid.
Can I ask you a question? Why did you get vaccinated?
I'd like to go to these school dances and spring break to have fun.
I want to be in person for college next semester.
I want to get out of this pandemic.
I wanted to protect the people around me.
Why did you get vaccinated?
Because I'm really looking forward to hanging out with my friends.
I just want to go to a show, dance around, not have to worry about anything, feel like I'm free again.
So we can not miss out on the best years of our life.
Great to have you with us here on the Megacast. I'm Ronnie Dahl here in the studios alongside Mr. Tyler Kieft. Just about 15 minutes left here. We have to jump out just about 5 minutes early. But before we go, of course, this is the big 4th of July holiday weekend. And it's so different than last year because we know so many big celebrations were canceled because of the pandemic. But what's back this year? Kieft Lake fireworks. We're so excited because you can see them throughout the area. We want to bring in Faris Naimi. He's one of the organizers because Kieft Lake fireworks, you guys really just started this, as neighbors?
Yes, we did. First of all, I want to say hi and thank you for having me on. This was an idea that I had for quite a few years. Myself and 3 other neighbors put this together, and it's an annual thing now, and everybody on the lake loves it.
And I will say, for some of us that don't live on the lake, I'm in Kegel Harbor, we can still see them and we still appreciate them as well. But this really is a neighbor by neighbor event, and so donations are still needed.
Yes, donations is the way we basically pay for this. We started it 4 years ago. Last year we didn't have it, so this is our 3rd year, And at the beginning, we were committed one way or the other to have the show go on, and whatever it took. My neighbors and I, we have 4 people on the board: myself, Carl Rose, Frank Campanelli, and Alan Miller. And we made a commitment that whatever it takes, if we have to pay for the whole thing the first year, we'll pay for the whole thing. We didn't end up having to do that. Everybody that we called or had heard about it contributed, and it's become something that is loved and definitely going to be an annual event.
Well, we're glad to have it back this year. And Faris, if you can tell me, how does it work? Where do you get the fireworks from, and where do you shoot them from?
So originally we had searched for a company to put on the show. We had identified many companies that I contacted, and they were only able to do shows on land. They were not able to do water shows. And finally, I was able to get a hold of a company called Gen X, and the owner's name is Jason, and they did water shows. And Jason has done a fabulous job for us. We do it right in the middle of the lake, where everybody on the lake pretty much can see it. There are 850 homes, give or take, that are on the lake directly, that have lake frontage or in a canal or basin or what so have you. And we have many other people that watch the show that come to Dodge Park or Marsh Bank or one of the outlots that's on the lake. So it, like you said, you live in Kego Harbor and you're able to see it from there. You're able to see it probably for a half mile or a mile away. We are the biggest lake in Oakland County, and because of that, we have 2 barges that we put out there instead of 1, which a lot of the lakes do. And it's a great show, and we've had a great response.
So with that, if I can ask, what is the typical cost?
It costs between $25,000 and $30,000. We have actually Jason over at Gen X works with us closely in terms of the costs of the show. There are minor expenses in terms of the flyers and so on and so forth. And one of the people that we have on the board is an attorney. Everything that we do, whether it's legal fees, everything that we do is strictly volunteer. It's a nonprofit corporation, and we everything that comes in goes in to the fireworks.
Well, we are so lucky to be able to have you in the community, and I will say, everyone that is out there, even if you donate $5, $10, because this really is a benefit for all of us. How can people donate?
We're on Venmo, we're on PayPal, and you could send a check directly to myself at 3220 Erie Drive, Orchard Lake, Michigan 48324. We have a flyer that goes out, and I believe that Larry said that he's going to post a flyer where it's got the address and all that on there. All checks are made payable to Cass Lake Fireworks Inc. And that's where we.
I think I will say, Faris, I'm kind of like, a check. People still have those? No. PayPal, Venmo, but I think I found out about you guys. Someone posted a picture of the flyer in the Sokigo Facebook group.
Yes, we are also on Facebook.
So with that, too, tell us, what time do you typically start to shoot off the fireworks?
It gets a little bit dark out there, so you're able to see the full effect of the fireworks. And it's between 9:45 and 10 o'clock. Right now, I believe sunset is 9:45, so shortly after that, they start the show.
how do you figure out which fireworks to use? I mean, do they basically have a package and say, hey, these are the fireworks and we put them off like in this order? Because you can't just go willy-nilly on the fireworks.
No, you definitely can't. This is all pre-orchestrated by the company, and we've talked to the company in terms of the length of the show that we want and how many barges that we want out there. And they made suggestions because of the size of our lake and so on and so forth. Originally, when we spoke to Jason, we were thinking about doing one barge, but he suggested doing 2 barges because of the size of the lake. And also it costs a little bit more than a ground show, because a ground show, you're a lot closer to the fireworks. Some of the country clubs do it on a golf course and so on and so forth. In this case, we're in the middle, the barges are in the middle of the lake where we're further apart, being in our backyards at the house or in the neighborhood. So he has to use bigger fireworks in order for them to go higher and be more visible. So basically, we leave it up to Gen X to put the show together. And so far, they've done an excellent job.
How long will the show last?
Typically between 20 and 30 minutes.
Has it been a problem this year getting the fireworks because we're hearing of a shortage, or is that mainly more just commercial for us regular people?
He's been doing this for a while, and he has the fireworks that he needs to put the show together. I have not asked him if it was difficult or not to get the fireworks, but last year we canceled because of those reasons.
So with that, talking to your neighbors, are they excited this year? Because last year was a year we don't want to repeat.
Oh, definitely we don't want to repeat it. So as far as the neighbors go, they are very pleased as far as what we're doing and what happened to Cass Lake. Just about every single house on the lake has a family and friends gathering, some kind of gathering, whether it's their kids coming in from out of town or people that don't live on the lake that they invite over. Just about every single home out there has something going on. And if you get out there on a boat, you will see bonfires, tents, bands, all kinds of stuff that are planned to the day of the fireworks. So we're not doing it on the 4th of July. We usually do it a couple days before, just depending. We like to do it on a weekend where everybody's off. And the 4th of July, it's a very busy lake, and the barges might move and so on and so forth. So we elected to do it a couple days before. The neighbors love it. Last year when we didn't do it, I received a lot of emails, a lot of phone calls, people that I run into, whether it's Starbucks or on the street, very disappointed that we didn't do it last year. So the neighbors are just very, very thankful and very happy about it. And it makes us happy to be able to have put something like this together. Like I said, it was my idea, but without the 3 other people that are on the board, Carl, Frank, and Alan, that were so instrumental in terms of helping me put this thing together. And it has snowballed to be bigger than I thought it would ever be.
Well, we hope it becomes an annual event here for all of us, because I know that you can see it from Kegel, Sylvan, Waterford, pretty much any of those areas. So it's so great having you. And again, thanks for doing this. The Cass Lake fireworks, they'll be going off tomorrow night, Friday. Fingers crossed, the forecast looks good.
Forecast looks great. We've been praying for good weather, and it looks like good weather is what we're getting. I just want to add that if you don't live on the lake and you don't have a friend or a relative that lives on the lake that you can go to their house and watch it, you could also go to Dodge Park or Marchbank Park and you're able to view the fireworks perfectly from there.
Great. See, so you don't have to know someone. Well, we so appreciate it. Again, Faris Naimi with us. He's one of the organizers of the Cass Lake fireworks. And anyone who is planning to join them, please go ahead and go to Cass Lake Fireworks. You'll find them on Facebook. Donate some money. Help with the cost of this. $5, $10, $15. It all adds up. So we want to say thank you to them for helping us celebrate the 4th of July holiday here in the greater West Bloomfield area. That's pretty much going to wrap it up for today's edition of the show. We'll be back next Tuesday, the 5th.
Yes.
I had to add up there. Tuesday the 5th. Everyone have a safe and happy 4th of July holiday. Thanks for being with us on the Megacast.